think I'm going to turn the heater on. This propane heater is awesome. Greatly expanded the time that I can get out here and practice because I'm not freezing to death. What are we going to work on today? Go back to something I've been working on, break into a big piece, maybe blast out a quick arrowhead. Oh, so many choices. See if I can break the bottom off this bottle to make an arrowhead out of the base. Oh, it's kind of curved. A little curved. I forget the best method for doing this. Is it a nail? I'm going to go grab a nail. This could be a failed experiment. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming back. I've done this with water. Water works well. I can't remember. I feel like this might work, but it also might just be a disaster. This would be a fun project if I'm able to get that base out without too much difficulty. I'm just too lazy to go get water to do the trick that I know. Maybe clean up my workstation while I'm doing this. I got one person signed up. How are ya? Happy New Year's Eve. Is it New Year's Eve? I think it is. I should know that, but I don't. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm hoping to bust out the bottom of this glass bottle and nap an arrowhead out of it for you. I think I remember seeing it done this way somewhere, but it's a way I've tried before, so this might just be a train wreck. In which case, I'll move on to, I don't know, maybe making an arrowhead out of this flake or something. Hey, Ocean, what's up? So I think what I'm doing with this nail in here is creating lots of little fractures along the edge. Hey, Periver? I don't know. How are you? Good to see you. I've been threatening to make a stone tool out of the base of a glass bottle, and I thought, well, maybe today's the day. But I'm trying this method of getting the bottle, the base off that I've never tried before. I don't know if it's going to work. Do I have water in here? I do have water. Maybe I should do the other method I know. Yes, I'm just going to grab that water. It's right there. I'm not going far. See? I'm back already. I'm back already. All right, let's double check that that's water. I think it is. The other one says alcohol. This is water. Okay. So here's a method that I have done before for breaking the bottom off from bottles. And that is you fill the bottle up with water. Not all the way. Yeah, I'm going to call that enough. Now, mind you, this is going to make a horrible mess at my feet. But I know that. I'm willing to accept the responsibility. All right. The method that I have used previously to fill the bottle up with water. That might be a little too much. I think it is. I'm going to pour some back into my spray bottle here. I think that's better. You put on safety glasses. Hold it at arm's length, and then you whack the top of it with like a wooden mallet. I think what happens is let's see, what does happen? Now the water comes up and then slams down on the base and hopefully, in theory, breaks out just the bottom. Yeah, I've never looked into the mechanics of how this happens. I know it works, I've done it, but let's see, I'm not really sure what's going on here. So you're hitting the bottle would move, you'd accelerate the waters would stay behind briefly, and then it catches up and smashes out the bottom. Something like that. And of course I'm going to make a giant watery mess, which isn't really a big deal. I just don't want to get my whiteboard wet. All right, everyone, you ready? Most exciting moment of the night, potentially. Woohoo! Look at that. Lo and behold. Oh, come on, folks. That was worth the price of admission, right? We just got a nice flat piece of glass with which to flint knap. I hope you caught that, because that's a very viable method for breaking out the bottom of glass. So if you don't have flint knappable stone in your area, I just showed you where you can get an almost infinite supply of free material to pressure flake. Come on, that's got to be worth something, right? So here's what this. It's kind of an old bottle. The label was gone. I don't know what it's from, but it's like, it almost reminds me of like a really old Orange Crush bottle. It's actually pretty thick at the bottom, like thicker than your standard beer bottle is these days, for sure. So what can I try for? See this arrowhead? Something like that, if I'm careful. It's big enough. It's plenty big enough for something like that if I work with it carefully. And just to let you diehards know, I have been doing some experimenting with software, OBS, for the streaming folks out there. And I did some tests yesterday to have, like, you know, my head up on one camera, and then looking over my shoulder down at my lap camera, so that way you can see just what I'm seeing. And I thought it would probably be, I don't know, a helpful approach. So hopefully I'll try that out in the next, I don't know, few days, next week maybe. All right, so I've got my my bottle, the base to my beer bottle or soda bottle, whatever it is. Mostly I'm going to be pressure flaking it, but I've got some of this lip from the bottle edge, so I'm definitely going to go after that with one of the two smaller pressure flakers. I'm actually going to go to the very smallest one and seeing if I can work off that edge a little bit. Yeah, so that's happening just fine. Just take off that little bit that curls up, because it's definitely not going to be a helpful part of the material for me to work on. So what I'm doing is keeping this up at an angle like so, resting it against the leather pad on my leg, and then just tapping into the corner to chip off the start of the wall of the bottle. Just little taps, because I don't want to break into the big flat base. As much of that material as I can get, at least to start with. So just rotating, tapping down at corner, rotating, tapping, rotating, tapping, working my way around. And look at that. I've got a little bit more I can do in here, but we are almost to a flat, more or less flat of glass, which is really no different than working with, let's say, this piece of chert. Basically, same approximate scale of flint knappable material that's probably in your garbage or recycling right now. You too can flint knap. Get something to protect your leg, something to protect your eyes, starting off, something to protect your hand. Some of these small copper boppers, I'd consider getting maybe a couple, but you could just start with one of these. You could make one of these with stuff at the hardware store. This is a tube cap from the plumbing aisle, which is really all that is. And then find a dowel that's that size. Melt some lead, solder in there, and then glue it to your dowel. And you've got a copper bopper. This one then also has some rubber, maybe heat shrink tubing or something, melted around the handle. Not critical. You don't really need that. That's just for comfort. So you do that, and then get a piece of copper wire and drill a hole in the end of a stick, and you've got your pressure flaker. And that is just about all you need to do what I'm going to do right now today. If you think you can't flint knap because you don't have the tools or the material or the money, well, I bet if you find some scrap leather, a piece of scrap copper, go to the hardware store and get that one end cap for, you know, whatever these cost. Not much. I'm guessing less than $2. And melt a little solder in it, epoxy it to a stick or a piece of dowel, and you've got yourself a bopper. I know I work with a lot of, you know, bigger specialized tools, and I work with some big pieces of chert, which I order, but just because that's what I work with, it doesn't mean that flint knapping is out of the question for you. This is just the bottom of a soda bottle. You can even see some of the, whatever those manufacturing numbers are. No idea. I will tell you though that older bottles tend to have thicker glass. And so if you got some, if you can find some and they don't cost you any money, yeah, you might prefer those. And also, if you can get your hands on some non-collectible, I don't know, what are they? Like whiskey bottles that are kind of, if you look from the top, they're kind of, you know, have flat sides and then two rounded ends. It's almost like a flask. Some of those flat sides are nice, thick, pretty pieces of glass that you can use to make stuff. And this is also, this happens to be a pretty cool survival application. Unfortunately, many places that you go in the wild where you might get lost or whatever, there's trash. And a lot of it is bottles. And you've got bottles and a small rock. You could make a small knife. You could make an arrowhead. So this could be a technique worth practicing on that front too. I'm just doing more of the same. I'm using my very smallest bopper, and I'm going to straighten out this edge. And then I'll probably flip it and straighten out this edge. And that sets me up to do some pressure flaking to bring this down to an arrow shape. Oh, flick the glass shards off your leg. That's why I've got this little piece on my leg. I've got two big pieces that are padding, and then this little one is so that when I have a whole pile of glass, whatever, I can just grab the corner and flip it up and that gets it off without doing this, which is, you know, this is a night waiting to happen. You don't do that. Don't do that. So very, very gentle. Meanwhile, the piece is tipped up like this. If I bring it down, the flakes are going to want to be longer, and I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm just trimming the edge, and to do that, I keep it tipped up at this angle with the edge pressed against the leather pad. It's a way to keep them short and controlled during this initial phase. Okay, so I've got that one side, you know, made into a rough line. Do it on this side. Get rid of this curved bit. Hey, Jow, how are you? Happy New Year. Working an arrowhead from the bottom of a glass bottle. Mixing it up a little bit. Trying to show folks stuff that's maybe a smidge more practical. And also a way to get into flint knapping without, you know, without any specialized rock or anything. And I briefly described how to make one of these. This is a great way to start practicing and see if you like it without spending a lot of money. And if you can find some nicely colored bottles, you can create some really pretty stuff. It also lends itself to making like a pendant. You know, if you finish a nice glass arrowhead, let's say you make something like this arrowhead out of a nice pretty glass, you can then get some thin gauge wire of your choice, copper, or silver, or brass, whatever, and do some wraps around there, and then twist it up, make a loop, and then find a nice, I don't know, some chain or a piece of, what am I thinking of? You know, piece of like leather, thin leather cord, you know, whatever, and then you've got this nice. So, you know, you can make nice looking jewelry out of trash. It was just a piece of bottle glass on the ground out in the woods. Decided to pick it up, and now we're going to see if we can make something out of it. Let's see, you need to take a little bit more off that curved bit. Yeah, just so you know, it's hard to work with. So that's why, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but this stuff, much more difficult. And also for the things you typically make, you know, arrowheads, that kind of thing, you need straight pieces. So, but if you can find a bottle that has those big flat sides, that can be some good stuff. That can be really good. Little taps, just trying to get rid of that, this manufactured edge here. Get a lot of that, but more importantly, I'm getting rid of the little lip of the very remnant of the go up. I'm just getting rid of that stuff. I might be able to keep a little bit of that stuff down at the bottom of the point, but I'm not really going to try to. It's not something I'm aiming for. I suppose you could. And on the subject of doing this as like a craft, you know, for gifts or something, you don't have to make arrowhead shapes. You could nap this into a heart shape. I could bring these sides down to a point, and then I could put in a divot there, and this could be a nice heart-shaped piece. Imagine if you could find like a nice piece of red glass, something. Maybe it's the bottom of a old candle holder, red glass, and you break out the bottom, and then flint knap the base into a heart, then do a couple wire wraps with a loop, and you've got a beautiful pendant that somebody in your life is going to love. That's a definite possibility. I've seen them. They're quite nice, striking. Okay, just a little bit more edge trimming, and then I think I'll break out the pressure flaker. Yeah, I've been talking about doing it for a while, but I guess today I'm finally doing it. All right, I think we're pressure flaking. I could keep trimming it down with the billet there, the copper bopper, but I think I'm going to switch over to pressure flaking. So and just use a big old piece of leather folded up in your hand. I like these leather pads that have a wood backing, just so that it's pretty rigid in the hand, and so I'm not worrying about that flexing. The way pressure flaking works is you place the piece on the rubber, and then I take the tip of the tool and I right against the edge on a low spot, and then I press in and down, and that pushes off a flake. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You can't really see it, but I pushed off a flake right here. Oh, you can. Right there. Now I'm going to move down a little bit and do the whole edge. Oh, I also should jump in here quickly and a braid. Always a good practice. Almost always full. 41 people? I'm famous all of a sudden. For those of you who don't know me, my Doug North. I have a YouTube channel by the D-U-G, Doug, N-O-R-T-H, Doug North. I like to explore how and use and appreciate objects from the past. So this live stream is often about me flintknapping, making stone tools by the ancient method. And that's what I'm doing today with a little modern twist. At the start of the session, I broke out the bottom of this old bottle, and I'm now flintknapping the base, hopefully into an arrowhead shape, which has both practical applications in a survival situation, can teach flintknapping without spending a lot of money, and could also turn into kind of a nice pendant, or if you're more of that kind of person, if you're interested in making jewelry, something rather than making arrowheads, even if you are. So I'm just going down that one edge, and I'm pushing flakes off by pushing in and down. I'll give you a little snapshot here in a second, once I get maybe all the way down this edge once. I need to abrade in anyway. But if I do the whole side, you can kind of really see what this is about. Okay. So I've done this whole side. Let's see, find an angle. It's a little hard to tell because it's clear glass. But you can see I've flaked down this way, down this whole side. Yeah, Joao, I love stone tools too. There's just so, I don't know, there's just something about them. They're so fundamental to who we are as humans that I think they're kind of, magical? Not quite magical, but I think they touch with the most ancient aspects of what it is to be a human. So it's almost got a spiritual component for me. Something like that. I haven't flint-knapped glass in a while. It's a little bit of a change of pace for me, and that's good. It's good to mix it up. Okay, I need to abrade again. So the abrading does two things. First of all, these chips that I've made are really sharp. So while I'm working on it, you know, I could cut myself. Not really what I'm doing. When you're pressure flaking glass, this edge is now, it's not only sharp, but it's really brittle. It's really weak. So if I abrade it, I make it more dull and therefore make it stronger so that when I go to push off my next flake, it doesn't just crush and turn into nothing. It's strong enough to hold up to that force for a while until, boom, that force pushes through and makes a nice long flake. So you're making the edge stronger to make longer flakes. And then the other aspect of it is the copper tool just wants to slide around on the glass. So if you rough the glass up a little bit with the abrader, then it finds a spot where it's likely to slide around. So that's the other big reason for abrading. 3 reasons. Don't get cut, stronger, make it so your tool doesn't slide off. There we go. Finally put it all into one sentence. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to start on this fresh edge, and I'm going to fit up a little bit. Thanks for coming back, Robbie. Happy New Year to you, too. Working on making an arrowhead out of this bottle, the bottom of this bottle that I found. It's going to be mostly pressure flaking because of the scale and thinness. It's already thick, which is nice. That's a real plus to starting with something like this. So you can kind of dive right in, and you're not worried about thinning your piece, which can be one of the more challenging parts of flint knapping. All right, this little piece is resisting me. Let's see if I can. There we go. Yeah, Joseph, I'm glad you popped in. I didn't really plan to do this, but I don't know. I was like, what should I do today? And I picked up the bottle and I started thinking about it, and one thing led to another. That obviously you're getting a sense for how carefully I plan these live streams. It's sort of like what falls into my hand first, because there's so many interesting things I could do. Basically boils down to like, what do I have upon first? So this is the bottom of a fairly modern clear glass bottle. It had been buried in the woods a while, so it didn't have a label. So I don't know what it is, and it feels a little thicker than a modern beer bottle. So I don't know, it might be from like their 80s or something. Not sure. There's a little patch of woods behind my backyard. And I'm told that years ago it was a party spot. And I believe it because I keep finding beer bottles like buried in the ground. Yeah, this is a great way to get into flint knapping, because you know not everybody has obsidian or wants to pay the money to have heavy rocks like chert or you know shiphouse, but we've all got oodles of bottle glass, and really, if you're just going to be working on bottle glass, these are the only tools you need. You can easily make these, or you can get online and find yourself a little kit that maybe comes with a few flakes, an abrader, a bopper, and a pressure flaker, and you're up and running. And you can see if it's something that you're interested in without investing, you know, in every tool under the sun. You can start very simply. Very simply. You don't need a lot to get started at this. And for those of you who came previously and heard me talk about Ishi, the last of the Yahi Indians, you should look up the arrowheads that he flint knapped from the glass ears that they used to string telegraph and power lines from. He made some arrowheads from those. You've got to take a look at those. I mean, the guy was amazing. Very skilled. A very skilled person. And we're lucky. We're lucky that he shared that info with us, that information with us. He didn't have to. And if I were him, I'm not sure I would have. So it's a real nice thing to be able to see that, to appreciate all of that, all the information that he gave us. All right, I'm starting to get kind of a fat pointed arrowhead shape. It's all flakes on that side, and so it's a bit curved, a little tiny bit. So I'll be trying to take a bit more off here to take that curve out, and then working on more of the other face, and so that none of like the smooth glass surface is left behind, and it has more of the flake bars, which you know, just look a lot nicer. And on glass, boy, can I get you an angle where you can really see the ripples? I don't know. Maybe in there. But because you can see through it, you can really see the details in some of the flakes, which is both interesting and instructive. You know, to see like how does the force move through the material. Let's see, take some more flakes in here. Oops. And again, it's important to rough up the edge with glass because it's so slippery. These rough, the edges that I make rough, give the tool a place to sit without just immediately sliding off. Kind of want to work on that base a little bit. We'll see if I need to break out the percussion flaker again. I'd rather not, but I just kind of see if I can take some of the base off here. Oh yeah. No problem. I roughed it. The tool gets enough purchase that I can push off some flakes. Or at least one. Try other direction. Yeah, it's going to take more abrading than usual, just because the material's so slippery. But it's not a big deal. It doesn't take long. Just got to do it. Just come back to it anytime you find your tool slipping. There we go. Boy, it makes a big difference. It's really hard to push a good flake when you're sliding off the edge. I'll show you these in just a moment. I'm just taking some off the bottom, making it less thick and hopefully less, giving the whole thing less of a curve There we go. And there we go. So, took a bunch off there. And so if we turn it up sideways, I've still got a bit of a curve at the top, but now this bottom is nice and straight. Now let me deal with the stuff up here at the top a little bit. Okay, that's better. Better already. Boy, I was joking about how you can make... Oh, man. Let's see here. If I just sweep this down a little bit more and then keep chipping into there, I could totally make this into a heart. I think I'm still going to go for an arrowhead, but just to show you, like, how easy that would be, especially as like a little gift for somebody. Somebody who likes hearts. That would not be too difficult at all. Yeah, too bad the holidays have already passed. I might, well, next year, right? I'll do that next year. I'll flint-knap some heart pendants for some people in my family. Why not? Do I sell my tips? Do you mean these? Joao, I'm not quite sure what you mean. But yeah, let me know if that's what you mean. If not, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. So I very tentatively, sheepishly, hesitantly started a Patreon account. If you tune into a lot of these and they inspire you to start flint knapping, or they're able to bring you up to the next level of your game, I, of course, would be thrilled and flattered if you became a sponsor, but do not feel that you have to. I am happy to do this, and it's not really about, you know, trying to charge people money. It's about sharing. So that is a completely optional thing, but I put it up there. It's my name, Doug North, D-U-G-N-O-R-T-H, and a couple different monthly levels. And that's all I'll say about that. Thanks for listening. Yeah, I was a little shy about doing that, but hey. I feel like eventually this is really going to help somebody out, and you know, they with them taking some lessons, or I don't know, not starting, or finding a teacher who didn't work out, or I don't know. I'm hopeful that what I'm doing can really help somebody on this journey, and if that's so, I'm glad. And if that's so, and they feel like contributing to my Patreon, well, that's great too. That's it. That's it. So starting to straighten out this side. Now I'll jump back over here and straighten that one out a bit. Progressively working my way in, shaping and thinning the whole time. It's just like working with chert or obsidian, or just working both sides and pressing the tool in toward the center and then a little down, and that pops the flake right off. Definitely wear a glove if you're working with glass. Yeah, there's my real official true legal name is Douglas, D-O-U-G. You know, and so growing up, it was always spelled D-O-U-G, Doug, just like every other person called Doug. But when I was 15, one day I was turning in some homework or something, and I decided to put it D-U-G. And then I never stopped. So it's not a particularly good story, but that's what happened. Nowadays, I just think it looks better. I don't know. I don't know. I can't even like explain why I think it looks better. I'm probably just used to it. But I suppose it's a bit memorable. It's a bit more memorable, right? Because you know you've seen it, Joseph. You've never seen anybody spell it that way, so maybe it like stick in your head. You see me on, you come across my YouTube channel, right? You'd be like, oh, Doug, it's that Doug. Not some other Doug. People also ask me if North is my real last name. Yep, it is. I didn't make that one up. Just came with the family, I guess. Oh, the heater is its job today. So still straightening out this side. May do a whole tutorial on how to make these. And with one of these, like how to get up and running with your first flint knapping project. How to make your tools, find your bottle, and then make your first arrowhead. And like, you know, do it with all stuff that you could do, you know, just from whatever's at your local hardware store. Nothing complicated, nothing you got to order. Because I know a lot of the stuff that I use, you know, it's specialized and it costs money, and I've got to order it from far away, and so it might be a little, if it's something you're thinking about doing, it might seem, I don't know, like expensive or intimidating or hard to get or something, but we could totally do like a little session where I show you how to make like a small bopper. And then where's my, well, I don't know where I put, oh, there it is. Like a really simple pressure flaker is just a stick and this piece of copper. So these two tools, you don't need a rubber pad. I like it, but you could also, what you can also do is take a piece of like scrap leather like this and just over a whole bunch of times like that. And now I can do my flaking right on that leather pad. That's not something you have to buy either. I'm just used to it, I prefer it, but this works just fine. This leather pad is perfect. And then abrasive stone, yes, you could go buy that, or you can go out and find some rough rock. It doesn't even matter what kind of rock it is. You use the rough rock as the abrader. So, super basic toolkit. Pressure flaker, bopper, abrader, leather, piece of leather, and then the bottom of a bottle. And you could be making your first arrowhead. Sounds like a commercial. It sounds like I'm on a commercial. I guess I am kind of, you know, excited to teach people and to get people up and running on this. Maybe that should be a long form video. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Should I make a video for YouTube, like how to do your first flint knapped arrowhead? I don't know. And then like, hey, how's it going, Odrim? But like a video on how to make your first flint knapped arrowhead, and like with, I don't know, whatever the tool materials would cost, like, I don't know, like $10. It's like you could start flint knapping for $10. That's kind of a good video, right? Oh, my friend Penny. My friend Penny's here. Okay, folks, I'm going to work on this for just a few more minutes. I may not finish this arrowhead today, but you can see this looks more like an arrowhead than a beer bottle at this point. I'm just going to be doing more of the same to bring it to shape. Use my cheap rock abrader. Oh, okay, maybe I will finish this then. And my homemade pressure flaker. My square pad. Put the tip on the edge and push in and then down. And that breaks off a flick. I just broke off this one right here. Now I'm going to work my way down and do a whole series of flakes down that entire edge. Push in and down, in and down. When I say in, I mean I'm pushing toward the center of the piece. In, and down. But it's just the slightest bit down. If you push enough, you don't even need to push down. All right. Go down the whole edge. And that gives you flakes on the entire side. And then you can flip it over, either work on the opposite side of that same edge or to the other side, all depending on where you are. It's good to keep track, but it's not super critical. So I just finished that edge. So now this edge is still pretty fat. I'm going to make a whole row of flakes down here. That's kind of what I did. I think in high school, I think I was just trying to be different, you know? I don't know why. I was different. I don't think I really needed to try, but, you know, there it is. Did it anyway. All right, why don't I do a few of these sort of like more up close so you can kind of see the action. I'll try anyway. As I said, I'm working on a 2-camera setup. So I'm going to put the tool right on the edge of the piece. And then I'm going to push that way toward the center of the piece and maybe a little bit down to pop the flake off. And I'm having trouble because of this. I don't normally stand like this. It feels weird. It is weird. There we go. Finally. Just popped a flake off from right here. Oops, sorry, there. And now I'm going to work my way and do either side of that. It'll make the piece both sharper on the edges and thinner. So as I continue, this will get narrower. I mean, there are some arrowheads that are broad like that, but not not local to me. But they do exist. I'm not trying to make anything that fancy. I want it to be a little narrower, and of course, I want it to be even thinner in this dimension. Though this is fine already. The glass started out thin, so making this thinner isn't a top priority. Just pushing a flake off, moving down a little, pushing a flake off. Now I'm just going to trim this edge a little bit by pressing down, straight down, and so where I just took a bunch of flakes off, now the edge is particularly thin. Because I want to keep going, I need to thicken it up again before I take my next set of flakes. So I'm just going to put this on my leg and do a lot of little down just to trim it up and to get back to slightly thicker glass. If it's too thin, it will just crush. You won't be able to make a nice flake from it. It has to have some strength in order to take the flake and allow that flake to carry. So I'm just doing a little bit of trimming here. Trimming and shaping. This is also a phase where, you know, if you wanted a certain shape, there are many, many styles. If you were trying to make a particular style, you know, this is an opportunity making the edge the right contour. But I just sort of making that straight. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to show you about the thing. There, if you look down the side of it, a moment ago, this was much sharper. And while ultimately you do want a sharp edge, while you're working on it, you need to make it a bit more blunt every now and then so that you can make the flakes long. And long flakes allow you to thin the piece. So, yeah, it's a little counterintuitive. You have to make it more blunt to make it more sharp, ultimately. And that's the same reason we abrade. And why don't I abrade the other side while I'm at it? Well, I've got the abrader in hand. Okay, yeah, I'll do this side. For those just joining, my name is Doug North. I like to make objects from the past, the ancient art of Flintknapping, which is how stone tools were made. Today, I've decided to do it with a modern material, the bottom of the old soda bottle or beer bottle. Not sure what it was. It came from right there. But I'm flaking it into an arrowhead using methods that have been around for thousands of years. So, modern trash turned into ancient artifacts, sort of. And it's good to, the chips of glass collect between the pad and the artifacts. It's good to separate them and clear that out every now and then, because you don't want those little glass pieces all over yourself. You always want to make sure that they can't get into your boots. That's a bad feeling, trust me. What's up, Wanderson? I recognize you. Hey, welcome back. How's Brazil? Okay, a few more on this side. And I'll give you another peek. We'll give you an update. Okay, so I just went down this edge. So I'd still like it narrower. I think I'll do one more from this side. Flakes are starting to get into here, close to the middle, which means hopefully this next set that I do from the other side, they'll all reach the middle, and I'll get rid of any remnants of perfectly flat glass from when it was a bottle. I think it'd be nice to, you know, get it to the point where the entire surface is made up of flake scars and there's no perfectly smooth areas that left over from the modern manufacturing process. That's just, you know, just my preference. No, you've got me suspicious. Like saying your name is going to be saying something bad. I'm just here making stone tools. This is the kind of guy I am. Ask anybody. Okay. Pick a low spot, push in, a little bit down. Glass breaks nice and easily, so it doesn't require the force that some materials take. Some are pretty tough and requires some good technique or some good upper body strength, but that's not true of glass. Breaks pretty easily, makes it nice and easy to work. I lost my tip, but that's no problem. All right, I'm going to bring this edge in. We can make more use of the length of the piece and put some kind of base on it. Here we go. Let's get some of that point back. It looks like a sad arrowhead without a point. Look at that. Glass arrowhead. A little bit more, that's the same. I just don't like the super wide proportions right now. So just to explain what I'm doing. So I'm taking this angle and dropping it down. Since this area is a little taller, how much do I want to take? Oh, a little more. Let's do another pass at least and see what we get. I need my one pad or the other here. And always want to be working with the center line of the piece below the center line of the piece if you're looking at it down the end. So I'm always putting the point on a point that's just below the center line. That helps the flakes carry. A lot of this is preparation of every step. Goes a long way toward making things work out. All right. Okay. Let's see, get my fat fingers out of the way. Now I trim up this bit, which is just a little long. There's never going to be that much material on the other side, so I'm just going to make it at least match. Yeah, good, good. A little bit more, not much. Get that base kind of, you know, more or less symmetrical. A little grinding. Give you an update. So there's the base. Could work a little on that a little bit more. Here's the arrowhead. Beer bowl bottom arrowhead. See a couple little funny spots. You go after those. Yep. And then to think about putting some notches on it. Braid a little bit. My tool is slipping a little bit, so this helps create a rough surface. So my tool doesn't slip off the glass. It's not a problem you have with like many of the natural materials, but glass is so slippery compared to those that you often need to rough it up just a little bit. Something for the tool to grab onto. All right. What we got here? Still got a little bit of a funky bit. Just going to grind that. Okay. Looks like I need to take a little off from this side to even it up. So here we are. This side looks, I just need to straighten up that side a little bit. You just got to go back and forth, checking it with your eye, turning it upside down, spinning it around, holding it at a distance, just to get a feel for if it's coming out kind of easy. And all of those little tricks kind of help. Well, I'm excited about the new video idea. I think that's going to be good. Kind of like how to make your tools, how to find material, and how to get started. Easy. And it can keep you occupied for a long time. Woo. Look at that. It's so pretty. Oh. And sharp. Pretty and deadly. Pretty and deadly. So the question is, just to finish this up, this is, no Hamza, this is bottle glass. So you're kind of right in that obsidian is glass, but it's volcanic glass. This is manufactured glass. Decided to make a arrowhead out of the bottom of a bottle today. So the question is, what kind of notches? I'm not really sure what I want to do. There are notches that come in from the corners, like this. There are notches that come in from the side, like this. There are points that don't have notches, but rather have stems. Let's see, do I have a stemmed point here? I thought I had a stemmed point. I don't see a stemmed point, but here's a stem on the bottom of a knife blade. So, but if I do any of the stemmed points, the one gets shorter. So I'm not really sure if I like that idea. It looks like it wants corner notches, but side notches might be the way to go. Just one coming in there, flip it around, and one there. I've made an executive decision, my friends. And that decision is side notches. Okay, so what's that going to consist of? Well, more of the same, but sort of more focused. If this is where I'm holding the point, I'm going to take the tip and I'm going to press it in and down until a little flake snaps off. Then I'm going to flip it over, and on that same spot, opposite where I just did that, I'm going to again press in and down. Flip it over, in and down, until I work my way in, and it makes a little notch like that. And what you use to haft the whatever it is, arrow to an arrow shaft, or to a handle, or a spear to a spear shaft. The notching makes all of that much easier. In and down, flip it over, in and down. You just got the very beginning of a notch right here. Right there. So just have to keep at it and eventually switch over to this tool, which has a narrower tip if you look at it from the side. This one. In fact, I'm going to switch now. In and down. There you go. It's a notch. There's a notch. So I'm going to hop over to the other side. Try and keep it even. It's always kind of a challenge. In and down till you get a pop. That little pop is a flake coming off. In. Notches on both sides. This one looks like it could be a little taller. Just going to straighten that out a little bit. There we go. I'm not sure how deep I want to go. Probably not much more. What I think I will do is bring these two edges in a little tiny bit and maybe flatten out the bottom. Just to make it more of a conventional shape. At least a shape that I recognize as conventional. There are, as I said before, there are many, 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 many different styles of projectile points and arrowheads. And as many styles as there are people who've made them. But this one just looks a little funny with that very wide base. That already looks a little more recognizable. And just make I'm going to try to make the bottom edge a little bit, it's a bit curved right now. Nothing wrong with that. It just strikes my eye as funny. And then I think that'll be it for today. Oh, I could give it a little recess to sit in for the spear. Some of them had that too. Yeah, why don't I do that? It's just give it a. I mean, it's in the case of an arrowhead, it's functional, but in the case of this thing, it just makes it look a little bit more interesting. So if you cut a slot in the arrow shaft and leave it a little rounded at the top. So if the slot in the arrow shaft is sort of shaped like the tip of your finger, then this rounded can seat right on there. And that kind of keeps it from sliding either direction. In the home stretch. Whoops, I just broke a corner off. Ah! I was almost done. I just broke this little corner off. Oh, what a pity. But hey, if you attach this to the end of an arrow, believe me, it's a functional arrow shaft. I wonder if I can just make that entire edge a little narrower. And then notch it burr. I'm gonna have to lose a lot of width. I'll tell you, the lack of symmetry is me absolutely crazy. That's my problem, not yours. Okay, what can I do? Well, I guess I could compromise the other side. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I'm going to mess up the other side deliberately just so that they match. I thought about it, though. Okay. There you go. Beer bottle arrowhead. Created from garbage. How about that, folks? And how about I make a long form video on how to make the little tool, the little pressure flaker, and then how to do this. How to do this out of a bottle. I feel like that's a good video. Like how to get started flint knapping for under $10. If in fact I can do that, and I think I can. You don't need much. You know, you need this cap, some glue, this little piece of copper, some scrap leather or rubber, and you're rocking and rolling. I mean, like you're flint knapping. If you've never done it before, you could be flint knapping in short order. Oh, I can't get my freaking fingers out of the way. There we go. Glass point made out of a beer bottle. And I just made in front of your very eyes. And if you're interested in survival, I'll tell you, that is legitimately sharp and even and thin enough to actually fly. Who says flint knapping is impractical? Not me. All right, folks. I want to thank you very much for joining me once again. Appreciate that. Please check out the other lives that I've got archived on my YouTube channel. Check out the long form videos. I'm going to have a new one for you next week, I believe, I hope. And I think this little session has inspired me to come up with another one. And I hope you get some value at it. I appreciate all the likes and the subscribes and the comments and all that stuff. It's really helpful to me. I started a Patreon. It's at WGNORTH. And if you feel like you're getting regular value out of this, like I'm some sort of, personal instructor for you, well then hop on over there and it feels right to you. Even if you don't, I very much appreciate your time and attention. I hope you have a great remainder of your day and a good new year. So until I see you again soon, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll be back for more in no time. Bye-bye.